Hi, I'm James Schillinglaw at the Asta River Cruise Expo in Vienna, and we're here visiting with all the ships. They have 16 ships here. It's it's probably the largest turnout of ships ever. And I'm here with Jen Halbath, who's the CEO of Riverside Luxury Cruises. And we've interviewed Jen before, every River Cruise Expo. And we're going to get an update from her on both on the Expo and a lot more going on with Riverside. And this is Insider Travel Report. Jen, first of all, great to see you here.
Good to see you, James. It's another expo.
Another one, almost down. This is the last day, and so we've gone through. We've got general sessions. You've had innumerable ship tours.
Oh yes, I love the ship tours. They're actually my favorite part of the expo.
Yeah, well, they're discovering your ship for the first time. But let's go back. You were at the press conference the other day and telling us a little bit about the history. Let's remind people about the history of Riverside Luxury. First of all, when did it start, and who owns them?
Yeah, so of course we began in 2022. We started
that far back.
Yeah, way back in 2022. Do we remember that? So we started sailing in 23. Riverside is owned by the parent company of Seaside Collection Hotels, the Gerlach family-owned business. They own and operate 10 hotels, 4- and 5-star properties in Europe, and one nearly 6-star property in the Maldives.
You mentioned that. We got to go to that one.
We haven't made it to the Maldives yet. This river cruise thing keeps us very busy.
I know. Well, maybe they'll give you a rest and vacation.
Yeah, maybe.
So they bought it. They started in 22, and you took over all of the 5 Crystal ships that had been in when Crystal went bankrupt. And so you started on the rivers. I remember you actually rechristened one of the ships at the expo a few years back. Yeah,
we actually did a surprise christening here on the Mozart. It was wonderful. Tiffany Hines is the godmother. And then actually at the expo last year in Amsterdam, we christened the Debussy.
Oh, that's right. You did too. I forgot.
These were a thing with us, but this year we just have the President's Cruise.
Okay. Well, you have to settle, right?
I know, but we always have a little something going on.
And why did the Gerlach family see an opportunity in river cruising?
Well, because they really think they saw that the luxury traveler who loves to stay in an amazing property with great food, space and design and service. Well, wouldn't it be nice if that hotel moved with them and they could go see more places a little bit more easily? So I think that most of us have talked about in the industry the alignment between, a stationary hotel and then a river cruise kind of just being a moving hotel. So
this definitely is. You're if nothing. Your ships are evidence of that. Especially this on the Mozart here. This is one of the oldest ships on the Danube. But you've renovated. Well, Crystal renovated, and then you've renovated it, and it is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, being the 3rd expo for us, 4th overall, I think there's a lot of new advisors this year, and it's my favorite thing. I mean, everyone has said, oh my God!
You're different. Yeah. You're a different kind. There are a few ships that are slightly different, but Mozart is totally different, and even your other ships are different because they had the smallest capacity, and they were designed for that. How many for Mozart? Right?
The capacity is 162, 81 suites,
and that's just. It's a huge ship, a lot of space.
Huge ship,
we're going to talk about that in a little later. But what I did want to get to, the fleet itself right now is 3 ships because you have, I believe, leased out 2 ships to Uniworld, right?
Correct, yes. We will get the Riverside Bach back in 27 and the Riverside Mahler back in 28. So we will have 5 ships sailing in Europe by 28.
Now, clearly, your position in the market, you are high-end luxury, right?
Yes, we are high-end luxury. And even though I have been saying it for 2 years, that's my job, I am hearing it echoed back from the advisors in waves this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen the progression over the first year, there was just, wow, you guys are here, you're new. The next year, oh yes, you guys are great, but there's still some tweaks. I haven't heard one negative thing from an advisor.
No, I mean, whenever we've been on,
they are just, everyone is like, wow, you guys are really here. The food is the best meal I've had this week. The ship is the most beautiful.
Better be. I'm dining here tonight, so you better.
Well, tonight is going to be the best.
Well, actually,
today is always the best meal on Riverside. Okay.
A secret: I had actually cruised on Riverside last year on the Rhone, and it was a marvelous cruise. One of my favorites, and it's a great river. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's talk about what distinguishes your ships from the rest of the different things. You sort of made a list of things but I want to hear it from you again.
Yeah, absolutely. So of course the hardware really differentiates us, but that is just the start of the story. So where we really differentiate is with the culinary. From the start, the owner had an eye on exceeding everyone's expectations with the culinary. We budget more per person, per guest on every sailing. We have less people on board. We have larger galleys. We have more chefs. We make everything on demand. Everything is artistically prepared, wonderfully delicious, but also the variety of venues in which you can get food and times. Yeah. There's sometimes a criticism of river cruising that, I missed the lunch and I got to wait till dinner.
I got to go to the tour and I got to get breakfast.
Yeah, well, we've got the buffet set out all the time with homemade pretzels and desserts.
Well, you lost me there. I'm going to come back.
Oh, no, the pretzels are pretty marvelous, but you will not go hungry on Riverside. And then it really, what warmed my heart, especially at dinner last night, because I went around to every table, the staff, the crew. I mean, everyone is in love with everyone. And they're just like, your crew, the service is amazing. And I think it's the kind of thing you need to experience, because I can say that. I've been saying it for 2 years, but till you come on, until you taste the quality of the food, see the presentation, laugh with your waiter, the bartenders, they are rock stars. I mean, those guys have been busy too. It's been the expo. They've been busy. They are just remarkable, and it just really sets us apart, but you really need to experience. So get your guests on.
Absolutely. You got to get on. And again, some of the hardware stuff you have, for me, sadly, Starlink is very important.
Yes.
And I don't know, there may be another ship that has Starlink on the rivers, but I think you might be it.
Yeah, well, we definitely started with Starlink. We were the first ones, and we have it on all the ships. And, then, of course, things like the spa on the ship is amazing. I mean, it's second to none.
And the Mozart I've never seen a spa like this one.
I know. Male and female steam and sauna, jacuzzi, 2 spa service rooms. I'm actually going to finally get a massage, because, the massage.
You deserve one, Jen. After this week, you got to do it.
Yes, I think I'm going to treat myself on St. Patty's Day. But, we call it the Fae Spa because the Fae Spa is what it's called in the Maldives, in the Honolulu. Oh. And so we cross-train, the spa specialists, therapists. They are, they're not serving you meals, and we use Natura Bissé product, so it's spa grade, and we also put Natura Bissé in the suites for all our guests. I had an advisor last year say, "Oh my gosh, I've used your shampoo twice, and my hair is amazing." So
I think I'm going to come over here and just use the shampoos, because I got okay shampoos in my other places that I've been this past week, but that sounds good.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Yeah.
Now, you talked about also the levels, 4 levels of pricing that you have, and I wanted to explain that. Because I think that was an interesting concept.
Yeah. So we start with what is called full board. So if someone wants to just come on and use the ship for, kind of their hotel, they, of course, have their beautiful suite with a king-size bed.
Yeah, the king-size bed. I was going to mention.
Bed in every suite in the fleet. Very unique. So they use the ship. They get all their meals, but they get coffee, tea, or water, right? Everything else is a la carte. Yeah. If they want to do an excursion, if they want to buy beverages, or they could do full board plus the excursion package. So maybe they want to say, yes, I want to come. I do want to do the excursions, but I'm not a drinker. So I don't really, but I do encourage you to get the beverage package even if you don't drink, because the mocktails are pretty fabulous too. Oh, wow. Or you could do full board plus the drink package, right? So that'd be like going to a luxury hotel and having all your wonderful drinks included. That'd be pretty cool. Right. But what we really see most of the U.S. travel advisors booking is what we call premium all-inclusive with excursions. Okay. That's the whole kit and caboodle, right? Everything's going to be included. The only things that aren't going to be included are vintage room, which is an additional charge, which
is wonderful. By the way, I've done the vintage room. It is an extra charge, but it is
totally worth it.
10-course tasting menu. Right?
It's seven course.
7 course.
7 course. That's okay. It's a 7 course. That is €320 per person, but it is an experience. We go very deep in the wine cellar there. We have a sommelier. We're the only line to have a sommelier on every ship.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yes. And if you haven't met Christina, who's on with us, she was on the Debussy last year, but we kind of have a mix of Debussy and Mozart crew working this because we need to service all you wonderful advisors. And every course comes out, they talk about the course, they talk about the wine. And then when the guests leave, they have the menu that they enjoyed and a sheet on every wine they enjoyed. So if you fell in love with something, you could find it at home.
I remember that. And it was an incredible experience that we had on Monroe with you. And I think we were on the Ravel, I think.
And so, vintage room would be additional, spa services would be additional. Yeah. We have some optionals, that, maybe really special or would take you away for a whole day if you wanted to. And then top shelf. But I would say 75% of what you're going to get at the bar is going to be included in the package. So yes, if you're someone who needs that kind of scotch or that particular vodka, but there's a wide variety of extremely good choices in the beverage package.
Now, what we haven't talked about is where you go in Europe. Talking about the rivers that you go to.
We have that we sail. We've got the Ravel on the Rhone. You can remember that alliteration. It helps. We've got the Debussy that starts up with the tulip time, comes down onto the Rhine, the Mosel, the Danube. And then we've got this beautiful Mozart that stays on the Danube.
Yeah, well, it can only go on the Danube, up and down the Danube. That's a tough life.
I know, tough life, because it's an extra wide, 75 feet wide, gives us a lot of extra space. It can sail from Passau down to the Iron Gates, and we do have itineraries that go out into Belgrade, Serbia.
Now, any innovations in itineraries this year or next?
At the end of the day, when you're trying to build a river cruise brand against lines that have been around for 25 years, we really need to get the core, so we need to be able to offer enough Rhine. But we do have some unique, if you look at our Rhine cruises, obviously everyone knows the typical Rhine. It's Basel, Strasbourg, Speyer, Heidelberg, Koblenz, Cologne. But we do have some that mix in other ports. So you could come back and do Rhine with us and really see 3 or 4 different ports that you wouldn't have seen on a traditional Rhine cruise.
That's amazing. Now, crucial. How do you work with travel advisors today? What are the kind of programs you have? Obviously, you're trying to train them in what you sell. Talk a little bit about the programs you have for advisors. Yeah,
well, we actually launched our first educational program in December, finally. We just needed some time, obviously, to get up. If we had done it right away, we would have just redone it anyway. So we've got a wonderful educational program that has 6 modules, goes through everything about the brand, booking, how to work with us. But really the best tool we have is our amazing sales directors. We've got 4 in the U.S. We've got Matt and Kelly out west. We've got Ian and Desiree on the east. And myself, and we really do focus on industry events. Obviously, the River Cruise Expo, this is why it's our 3rd one. We want to be out in front and working with the frontline advisor as much as we can.
Yeah, so you got all the tools to learn how to sell Riverside.
Great TA rates.
Okay, great. There you go. You got to get on and go take a look.
If you haven't come to the expo, please come take our educational program so you can get access to our TA rates. It's $260 a night per person, up to a 7-night cruise, and that means you can bring a guest for the same rate. And it is that premium, all-inclusive with excursions, which we didn't. We talked about pricing, but in addition to the different packages, every package includes port charges and taxes, gratuities for the crew, as well as, guides and drivers on land, and your transfers are included in that price.
Pretty good deal.
It's a pretty good deal for $260 a night with the quality of the culinary that we talked about.
Now, you came over from Globus and Avalon. How many years ago?
Now it's been 2.5 years.
2.5 years?
Yeah.
How you doing? Are you enjoying it?
I am enjoying it. It's been quite a wild ride, right? But I'm here for it. It's been a lot of fun growing the team. It's been one of the things that's been most rewarding and most enjoyable. I'm just really proud of how far we've come, and just being out front and working, with the frontline advisor, it's
what you knew about. You've been working with frontline advisors for a long time.
Yeah, but in the national account role, I moved in different circles, and it's just fun to get on and be with a sales director and do a call with an advisor and help sell a charter. I mean, we're kind of really in the trenches with the advisors, and we love it, and we're having a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Now, what's the future hold for Riverside? You're going to get those 2 other ships back eventually in a few years, and you'll have a fleet of 5. It almost like you reintroduced to the fleet.
Yeah.
What do you want to see in the next 5 years?
Well, what I want to see is us really occupy in the advisors' minds, and of course their clients, our guests, that every time they think about luxury river cruising, Riverside is automatically the only answer. I mean, that's really what we're aiming for. We want people to say, when I river cruise, I go on Riverside. We want people to come back and, I hear it all the time. Like, people want to come back because Carolina, the shore manager, she's amazing. I really just want our guests and our advisors to kind of fall in love with us. And, we want to just not be able to live without each other. How about that?
That sounds great. Now, I asked that question. Where can advisors go to get more information about Riverside? Because your URL is a little different.
Yeah, it's riverside-cruises.com/TA. And yes, we know we need to kind of build it out more, but you can make a booking there. You can, find out, information, find the educational program, find out who your sales director is if you don't know. But really, working with your sales director, they will personally service you, right? They will get you what you need for your business. We don't want to do, I like to say, as much as we want to personalize the experience for our guests on board, we want to personalize the experience working with the advisor. We want to work with you how you want to be worked with, how you're running your business, the things that you love to do and the things that you find successful. We want to support.
Fantastic. And just a personal aside, I did sail Riverside Revel last year. It was a marvelous cruise on the Rhone. And I'm sometimes thinking, why don't we start with the Rhone? The Rhone is a pretty darn good river, and the food was great. The tasting experience. What do we?
The vintage room.
The vintage room. Sorry, was amazing, and really it was a great cruise, and the accommodations were superb. So at least from a personal endorsement, I've sailed every river cruise ship there is.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you've done more than me.
Well, you did Avalon.
Yes, I know. We've done a lot, but I don't know. I bet you probably have me.
Well, Jen, great to see you here at Asta River Cruise Expo. I assume you'll be back next year in Amsterdam?
We'll see you in Amsterdam, James.
Fantastic. Well, maybe before then we'll see you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm James Shillinglaw here on the Danube, and this is Insider Travel Report.